Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to G'day Bitcoin, the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. We have a lot to cover today. The news will be the first 35 minutes. We'll do a banter for the last 25. Today's top stories that we're going to cover. Number one, Elon Musk looks to be paying attention to Bitcoin again, although he is trolling pretty hard. Michael Dell most certainly is paying attention. The RBA, Australia's central bank, says some are going to have to sell their homes. Yellen says the economy remains solid. Joe Kern loses it with the Harris team thieving policies. Bitcoin may pump 38% in October, but we must get through September. It is looking very bullish. Diving straight in. Happy Bitcoin legal tender day. On September 7th, 2021, El Salvador became the first country to officially adopt Bitcoin. Bitcoin in the media. This is posted by Bitcoin Magazine. It's a bubble, it's dead, it's bubble dead, bubble dead. Funny because it is true. If you just buy, stack, and chill, you hold on for dear life, you are winning. So, Elon Musk trolling Bitcoin hard. And just a shout out to everyone that is tuned in live or watching the replay this morning. We are back in the green. We are at 54,665 there with the Bitcoin price. But Elon Musk, the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, of course, he's trolling. But listen to what he has to say here. This is from a space a little while back.
I still own a bunch of Dogecoin, and SpaceX owns a bunch of Bitcoin, but
SpaceX still owns a bunch of Bitcoin. So this throwback to 2020 here, JK Rowling, people are now explaining Bitcoin to me. Honestly, it's blah, 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 collectibles, My Little Pony, blah, 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 computers, got one of those, blah, 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 crypto, sounds creepy, blah, blah, blah. Understand the risk, I don't know. Elon Musk, pretty much, although massive currency issuance by government central banks is making Bitcoin internet money look solid by comparison. That thesis still stands. Then we go to 2021. You can now buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. Currently, you can't do this anymore. Elon Musk did state when the Bitcoin hash rate was 50% or more renewable energy, he'd reinstate it. It is over 50%. He still hasn't yet, but I think this could happen potentially this cycle. And he understands it a little bit more than what he's letting on. Tesla is using only internal and open source software and operates Bitcoin nodes directly. Bitcoin paid to Tesla will be retained as Bitcoin, not converted to fiat currency. Bitcoin. Then he goes on to say, this is May 17th, 2021. Bitcoin is actually highly centralized with supermajority controlled by just a handful of big mining, aka the hash companies. A single mine in Zhejiang flooded, almost killing miners, and Bitcoin hash rate dropped 35%. Sounds decentralized to you. Elon Musk again, hey cryptocurrency experts, have you ever heard of PayPal? It's possible, maybe, that I know you realize about how money works. Peter McCormack diving in, this is way back in the day, 2021. PayPal, laugh my ass off, you mean the company which froze WikiLeaks accounts, the company which routinely censors payments. Talking about Bitcoin being highly centralized, this Oliver Valise the other day, Bitcoin ownership is very concentrated and held a large part by a small handful of hodlers. I know it's talking about hodlers, not hash rate. The thesis plays out. With the hash rate, people just move pools as they get too big. But this plays true. Bitcoin ownership is actually widely distributed already. Only 2.3% of holders own one full Bitcoin or more, and this number is perpetually falling. Let us know. Actually, don't let us know. Just hopefully you are part of that 2.3%. You don't need to let anyone know what your Bitcoin stack is. Elon Musk most certainly is paying attention to Bitcoin though. Hayek nails it again. With government in control of monetary policy, the chief threat in the field has become inflation. Elon posting this the other day. Quote by F.A. Hayek. This is Salma Hayek here in the photo. Hard money, hard economists. So the 13th richest man, Michael Dell, worth $96 billion, posted, enjoy Bitcoin. He just can't get enough of it 3 days ago. So this is the hopium, a little bit of fun. Don't get caught up on this because it's not going to happen. But Godzilla on Monday, I asked which Monday. He said this coming Monday, so 24 hours until we get the Godzilla candle. We are in the green, but are we going to pump 10K, 100K? Are we going to get an Amiga? No, I don't think so. when it comes to these price predictions short term, nobody has any idea. When it's all bearish on X, it's fun to play the bull cycles. Bitcoin is perpetually up and to the right over time. But Bitcoin adoption, it's not just this fun internet magic, this fun magic internet money, which it is. And it's fun to be able to play with our Bitcoin, but it's a very serious asset. Venezuela opposition leader proposes Bitcoin as a national reserve. The world's starting to wake up. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corona Machado proposes using Bitcoin as a national reserve asset to tackle the country's economic crisis and hyperinflation. Keep that in mind as we get into Australia and Janet Yellen as well. Some countries get it, the West is not at the moment. Now, keep this in mind. September, it's pretty bad, and it's been pretty bad so far, just in line with normal Septembers. They're a pretty down month. October, Bulltober. We need to get there first, but there is a huge possibility we rally 38, 40% when wrecked capital. When Bitcoin retraced negative 7% in September in 2017, it then rallied 47% the following October. 2020, September, down 7%. And then 27% the following October. 21, down 7%, and then following October, 39%. At the moment, we are down 9%. Something to be able to keep in mind. We do have this one analyst calling for the biggest bull cycle with 45K now Bitcoin price floor. Bitcoin price is due some final corrections before going on a bull run lasting at least 2 years, says crypto entrepreneur Michael Vander Poop. My apologies, brother, getting it wrong. Bitcoin is due some final corrections before spending the next 2 years in a bull run. Bold new analyst predicts 2 years, maybe a little bit long, maybe a little bit short. Maybe we're in hyper Bitcoinization. At some stage, Bitcoin will go up. It'll probably go straight up at some stage in the cycle, and it will come back down. My guess is higher than where it is now. But for it to go up for the next 2 years, I'll take it. Do I expect it? Probably not. Bitcoin price forecast clearly breaking back upwards at 53K. That is that number we have been calling on the channel for Vanderpope. However, the end of one of the most frustrating episodes in Bitcoin history should be imminent. I do agree with that, whether it happens October or we need to wait until Q1. I think probably Q4 is going to be pretty bullish. Liquidity was taken. Bitcoin is back to 54,800. If we have a look at the price at the moment, with 54,600, it's close enough, good enough. With that $200 move, $2,000 move on a daily base, absolutely nothing. Expect $5, $10, $20, $30,000 moves to the up and to the downside. But expect a max of 55.5 on this run. Then we could be revisiting 53K. Again, the reason I bring this up is not to be able to trade it, but just to expect that Bitcoin will go up, down, and sideways. That's at least the way that I approach it, the way that I stay sane in these big moves, and then just buy when we have these amazing red days down at 53K over the weekend. But the final corrections and then 2 years of bull. What are your thoughts? From now, September 2024, is it going to go all the way out to 2026, or is it going to be cut short? And who's going to cut it short? Why is it going to get cut short? I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are. Now, Joe, push back pretty hard with this. The reason I bring this up is not left versus right, red versus blue. It's the government versus you. It's the government versus all of us, and we can save in a better form of money because they're gaslighting us on every angle. And just real quick shout out to everyone watching live. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. But good morning, Johnny, Earthbum, Michael, and Ray, to see you there in the live chat. Joe.
I don't know. I read the notes, Elizabeth. You're just going to tell me raising or cutting taxes on the wealthy, as if corporations are a code word for the wealthy. I just don't understand that because.
I don't think that's true at all.
Okay, aren't you saying that's all he wants to do is cut taxes for the wealthy? Why is cutting taxes on corporations for the wealthy? Why is that for the wealthy?
I think there's both. I think one, we know that capital income represents for the top households represents a huge amount of their income. relative to wage income at the bottom. And so when those corporations do better, or when they're given tax breaks, that flows to the top households. But I don't think that.
So that's a bad thing. Seriously, Elizabeth, that's a bad thing. Who do you think provides the jobs in this country and the people that work at those companies that pay the taxes to afford everything we do? The government can't provide jobs. Who's going to
Wait for this part, it's brilliant.
pay the government workers? The government doesn't have...
The government is, in fact, the largest employer in the United States.
Yeah, exactly. And where do you get the money to pay? Where do you get the money to pay those employees?
I think that there's this, false
Where do you
reality
get it?
that trickle-down economics has worked for the past 50 years. And in fact,
Just answer me. Where do you get the money to pay the government employees? Just answer that. That's all I want you to answer.
Revenue from both households and corporations.
It all flows down from the private sector. I'm sorry to tell you. Let me, Michael, can you explain?
He goes on, I'll repost it at Sean Clark 911 over there on X. Where's the money come from? From the government. It's from you and I, ladies and gentlemen. Higher tax rates disincentivize people to invest, and you get a huge outflow of capital, a massive brain drain. It has never been more important to self-custody your Bitcoin. Trust me, this is Andy, the Bitcoin way. Today's channel partner, the Bitcoin way. If you've still got your Bitcoin on the exchange, get it off today. It's really not hard. This team are the best people to be able to walk you through, to be able to educate you, to be able to run your own node, run an air-gap wallet. As well as that, they can help with cybersecurity, inheritance planning, Bitcoin privacy, KYC and KYC-free Bitcoin, multi-sig, your wallets and nodes. And then if you're really looking to be a sovereign individual, you can go down the path of becoming a sovereign individual by getting a Plan B or a second passport. They call it the Plan B passport there. You run VPNs, privacy phones, encrypt your personal data as well. First 30 minutes is free. Jump on their website, book a chat. The team, absolutely incredible. I will get Tony back on very shortly, but shout out to them, or you can reach out to them on X at the Bitcoin way. Now, Daniel Baden. I enjoy a lot of posts by Daniel Baden. While the EU has been busy gaslighting Bitcoin, Japan has been busy researching it. Most of the world is starting to really wake up to pay attention. This from Ishai Shimboom, one of the 5 largest newspapers in Japan. Green energy producers operate their business on the assumption part of the power they generate is wasted. If Bitcoin provided a new source of income, that would promote more green energy. Bitcoin fixes this. TEPCO firm used surplus green energy to mine Bitcoins. Pretty incredible. Bitcoin for freedom. Bitcoin is freedom. The biggest Bitcoin bull run is loading. I agree with this. In the time frame when Bitcoin pumps, I do not know, but the rate cuts are coming. Retail, they'll get FOMO, supply shock from the halving, strong hands at all-time high, geopolitical, unstable world, Bitcoin key, and presidential election. It doesn't really matter if you're for the left or for the right. Just that Bitcoin, with the world's largest economy, is on the presidential election ticket. Absolutely amazing institutional adoption because of the ETF and fair accounting. Now, Michael Dell. Again, this is where it came from. Has enjoy Bitcoin. Be curious and always be learning. Have big ears to listen. Be open to ambiguity. Dave Ross. My wife told me she wanted a more ambiguous relationship because I had such big ears. Now what, Michael? Enjoy Bitcoin. Have a little bit of fun. The greatest ad for Bitcoin. It is reposted by Dan Held. This all the way back in 2023. But this is why we should be playing with Bitcoin. Why we should be paying attention to Bitcoin. It's a minute 30. It's an old one. A lot of us have seen it before, but I think it's well worth a visit for anyone new to the space.
With Bitcoin, there's no thing that backs it up. And that's what makes it different. It's just belief. You and I assess. You assess the value is going to go down. I assess it's going to go up, and therefore I buy.
So it's more like this artwork.
No. Because at the end of the day, I can hang that thing on my wall.
Right.
And I can enjoy it, or I can throw darts at it.
You could sell it for money.
Sure you can.
Right.
I mean, there are features about it that are the same, but it's not the same. And look, one of the things we have to remember about, there are a lot of things that come within this crypto world. So, for example, we could be talking about, instead of Bitcoin, we could be talking about digital currency. Now, that's something very different.
I think that's different too. I buy that. I accept that.
That's right,
Different,
because
yeah.
that's a government-backed electronic transfer. And it can be denominated in dollars, it could be denominated in euros, it could be denominated in some new language that's made up. But that has something that backs it up. It has a government that says, if at the end of the day there's a run on this stuff, everybody wants theirs out, the United States government promises there will be something to back it up. And that's what banks are about. There'll be somebody there to back it up. But with Bitcoin, that's not the case. And then, of course, can we do one?
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Elizabeth Warren is probably one of my favorite people on planet Earth. I'd love to be able to sit down, have a proper conversation. I wonder if she actually believes the nonsense that she is touting. Bitcoin not backed by anything. It's the world's largest decentralized computer network in the world, and it is secured by everyone running a node at home, which is absolutely fantastic. Also, you can't print more of it. What she's saying in regards to CBDCs, just fiat in general, if there's a bank run, the government can just print more of it. We're going to dive into what's happening in Australia due to the money printing and how destructive it is for the everyday person. Let me know what your thoughts are, but hopefully you don't believe any of that. Elizabeth Warren said she used to be for the people, and she touts that she is for the people, but clearly not. JP Morgan has obviously bought her out, which is quite sad. I think she started with good intentions, like they all do. But prepare for layoffs to skyrocket. George Gammon here. Yellen says the US economy remains solid on a path to a soft landing with no meaningful layoffs. It reminds me when they said inflation, it's transitory. It's transitory. It's transitory. It's all going to be good. But when the Ponzi starts to crumble, we'll see massive fraud at banks and a lot of dodgy lending that shouldn't have been made, similar to Ireland, Iceland, the US. Irish and Armour bailout will pale in comparison. Westpac, which is one of our top 4 banks here, allegedly bullied troublemaker staff who raid Rams fraud. Absolutely insane. The bank's head of audit and risk also alleges that executives sidelined her. She's the head of audit and risk, and they didn't want to hear it. They knew what was going on, and they just sidelined her. They pushed her out of the way. The prudential and corporate regulators are investigating. Melinda Richards, hey Aussies, were you one of those ones that loved your free money from the government in 2020 so you could stay home in your jammies and watch Netflix all day? Well, that free money is what has landed us in recession now, so hopefully none of you are complaining. Hopefully anyone that accepts that money, if you put in Bitcoin, you're better off. That's what factually the data says. But even if they give it to a small cohort of people, every time they print money, it hurts everybody else. They're going to be printing money indefinitely. There may be times where it contracts a little bit, but the money supply is going to continue to be debased. That's why Bitcoin will continue to go up and to the right. We've got Dave Taylor. I think he's on ABC News. Big reporter, news junkie. Australia's longest serving treasury, Peter Costello, has dared Labor to lift the reserve banks. So the Central Bank of Australia, target ban for inflation rather than continue to attack the bank over monetary policy and risk causing it severe reputational damage. WTF, mate. Absolutely insane. If they can't feel their narrative, they just change it all the time. And the reason why I bring this up is because this is why Bitcoin's so revolutionary. There's 21 million Bitcoin. Maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 million have been lost, but there's a 21 million hard cap supply. The inflation rate, we know it indefinitely. We can look out 10, 20, 30, 100 years into the future, know what Bitcoin's monetary issuance will be, how many Bitcoin will be circulating around. And then when it comes to the RBA not being able to hit their objectives, the treasurer wants them to change the metric that they perpetually say is safe. So they want to go from 2 to 3%. They want to go from 2% to 3%, and that 1% difference isn't going to make much of a difference. Hell yeah, it will. You'll lose like 36% of your purchasing power over 10 years. So Brisbane now is one of the capital cities in Australia. Working Aussies living in tents while we are the richest fossil fuel country in the world, bringing in 1.3 million low-skilled migrants. And so your GDP numbers look good as criminal. It's happening the world over, the West over at least. It's really sad to be able to see. That stock chick, excessive government spending has caused inflation to remain sticky. You know, that pay rise elbow just gave childcare workers, well, childcare facilities have just started passing it on, the biggest government spending in history. There's no free lunch, ever. It just, they can't stop spending money and it flows down and the burden comes back onto the taxpayer. Melinda. So now, sorry. So this has been talked about extensively in Australia. We'll get through Australia. This is the last one in the last couple of days. Rampant government spending has sent Australia into an inflationary spiral, and the only tool available to the RBA is to raise interest rates, which they have done, which has done nothing because of the continued rampant government spending. So why is the government spend so much? And extrapolate this out to your country. It's going to be pretty similar. To ease the cost of living pressure due to high inflation. Yep. To bribe the electorate. Yep. To solve issues that they have no business being in. Pretty much everything. Because that's what governments do in Australia now. Culturally, politicians on both sides know nothing else to turn Australia into a socialist country. So here we are in recession with idiots at the helm. This is crazy. The RBA governor gives economic warning. Some may have to sell their homes due to the currency manipulation that's gone on in this country. I guess this is what wakes me up, stirs me up so much. There is a better option. We can earn in fiat and just opt out, just save in the world's hardest, better money. That's the way that I approach it. Otherwise, without doing that, some people are going to have to sell their homes because we can't control what the central bank does. And what I find very interesting is the central bank in Australia, the Reserve Bank of Australia, it's owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. Unlike the Federal Reserve, it's not a private institution, but it is, it seems, indebting our nation and creating a massive divide between the haves and the have-nots. And I think it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Anyway, sorry, last thing on Australia. They want to roll out digital IDs. This leads to CBDCs, social credit scores. That's the path they go down. They are bribing people with free passes to the Perth Zoo for everyone. Family of 4. All you need to do to get started is get your digital identity. There's no free lunch, ever. It doesn't matter whether it's with money or free zoo passes or whatever, or free shots. If they're giving you something for free, there's a catch, and you are probably the product. We got through this one. So every single time, let's get back into the Bitcoin news. Everything relates to Bitcoin because Bitcoin fixes everything, in my opinion. And just being on a Bitcoin standard allows us to watch Clown World. Obviously, a little bit of panic over the weekend. Let's just have a real quick look at the price here, 54.6 at the moment. It came crashing down, from 58,000. And we're panicking, but this is the great Bitcoin crash, September 2024, for a little bit of perspective there. When in doubt, zoom out. So let's have a look quickly at the charts this morning. And we will get into a banter very shortly. We've got a couple more articles to get through. Let me hit refresh. Mouse is buzzing out this morning. My apologies. 54,454. It's amazing. This price is lower than when I started this morning. And the chart was all red. The button in the background was all red. And the price was low, 666. Isn't that auspicious? Lucky number or bad number? Interesting number. Nonetheless, couple of minutes change and then Bitcoin's green. And psychologically, you feel good because Bitcoin's green, but it's at a lower price. Doesn't make any sense. It's when it's red, it should be exciting. But the price here, 53,000, 54,000, 58,000, 73,000, it's all good. In my opinion, $54,454.99. 54, 45, 54. Pretty cool numbers there. Not quite a palindrome, almost. But in the last 24 hours, we're at a high right now and a low of 53,722. too. That 53 number, pretty solid. If we stay above it, we should probably rally back up. Probably agree with that guy. 55,000, 56,000 before coming back down to 53, 54,000, push back up again. September, I think it's going to be a hard month to be able to get through, especially up until the rate cuts. Rate cuts come. Psychologically, whatever happens, prepare for a drop, prepare for a pump, and just follow a plan. Buy, stack, and chill. It's super easy to be able to win at this game and just zoom out. Have a little bit of patience, because in the last 12 months, Bitcoin is up 114%. This is number go up. Technology, where we are in the cycle, is in the bull run. The bull run hasn't been invalidated. It's not over. Just because we've been down and consolidating for the last 6 months, this makes Bitcoin extremely strong. Rex Capital. Bitcoin bottomed 547 days prior to the 2016 halving, but topped its bull market 518 days after the 26 halving. 2020 bottoms 517 days before, topped 549 days after. A lot of numbers. Bitcoin bottomed 517 days before the 2024 halving. This is where we are now. And it may very well top its bull market 549 days after the 2024 halving. That's October 2025. Now, October 2025 makes a little bit of sense if the cycles repeat, but they don't often repeat. But there is usually a bit of an undercurrent of rhyming. Humanity, we love patterns. We like to be able to see things and follow it, and it's just human psychology. So maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. I guess what it's saying is we've still got a bit more time in front of us. And then when we zoom out, we've got a video from Michael Saylor which pretty much sums it up the way that I think we should be approaching it. History suggests two takeaways. The halving acts like a mirror. Bitcoin bear market bottoms occur a similar amount of days prior to the halving, which it has. It is pretty hard with only 3 data points. So, please keep that in mind. That's my issue with all models. I don't use them to trade, but just to be able to get my mindset in the right place to be able to buy, stack, and chill. And any way I can back myself up for that, that's why I find these things helpful. The halving acts like a mirror. The Bitcoin bear market bottoms occur a similar amount of days prior to the halving compared to the amount of days it takes for Bitcoin to form bull market tops after the halving. This bull market is not over yet. Number 2 is most important there. The real ones, no, this is pretty interesting. Ronan, you're contemplating taking out a loan, buying Bitcoin, and leaving your home country. Are you not? It sounds very much like something Eric Kaysen would say. If you haven't already read it, Crypto Sovereignty, if you've read 4 other books, it's a good one. It's insane, and it dives into that a little bit. We got Tate chiming in. Smart idea for most, to be honest. Do with that what you will. Obviously, don't trade on Bitcoin, but they are talking about leaving your home country. And that's the best way. This is all we need to do to be able to win, to be able to succeed. If you're going to invest in Bitcoin, a short time horizon is 4 years, midterm horizon is 10 years, and the right time horizon is forever. Let's go full screen. Mr. Saylor.
So about this possible winter, are you really not feeling the cold?
Look, if you're going to invest in Bitcoin, a short time horizon is 4 years, a mid-time horizon is 10 years. The right time horizon is forever. Warren Buffett said, if you wouldn't hold it for 10 years, you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. So if you look at the course of 4 years, no one's ever lost money over 4 years holding Bitcoin. And if you look at, our experience, we started buying it at $10,000, and now it's up by a factor of 4. So given the right time horizon, you're fine. So it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is it makes it the most exciting, interesting thing in the financial universe everywhere in the world. And the curse is it can induce anxiety for people that have a short attention span or are focused on a narrow time horizon.
Just talking about short attention spans, we'll get through the rest of the news within the next 7 minutes before we get into a banter. If you just tune in, hit subscribe. But if you could do me a major favor, share the videos. Share every Bitcoin video. Get the Bitcoin signal out there. Fiat is dying. It's going down forever. Getting the message out there. It may save someone that is experiencing inflation, which is just degrees away from hyperinflation the world over. It'd be greatly appreciated for that. Let's carry on before we get into a bit of a rip. Block height, most important time to be taking note of it. Let me just hit refresh, make sure it's all gravy. This morning, TikTok 860,524, zoomed in a little bit. High sats per US dollar. We have it. It has come 1,832 sats per USD. Market cap's just holding above $1 trillion. Not sure if we're going to come back below or not. It's highly possible. I don't expect it though. Last block 14 minutes 40 seconds ago. How are we doing? Average block time 9 minutes 32 seconds. It's run a little bit fast. The hash rate has come up in the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, it's gone down, but 703.9 exahashes. Let's go. The previous adjustment was up 169 blocks last 24 hours. And let's just have a look. Fee rate, it's still very, very cheap to be able to consolidate your UTXOs. If you need help, reach out to the Bitcoin Way. Again, first 30 minutes is free. Just have a conversation with them to make sure you are protecting the sovereign money, the unconfiscatable freedom money that cannot be debased. How cool is this? There's just a little bit of the culture that's going on, a couple more articles. There's a couple of things that I found interesting, and then we'll get into a bit of a banter. Check out, I'm not sure what music's playing, so just mute that. But how cool is that? Bitcoin all over their jackets. That's epic. That's so cool. The world's biggest brand is showing up in more and more places. Mark Moss, well done. Shout out to you. 114 million active YouTube channels and less than 1% ever get to 100K subs. Mark has over 500,000 subs, which puts him in the top 25,000 channels in the USA, and only 7.5 thousand channels in education in the world rank higher than the Mark Moss channel. Massive proof of work. Well done to Mark Moss. Somebody I'm really excited to see at Cheat Code there in Sydney in October. If you're in Australia and you go and let us know, probably easier on X to let us know if you will be there. Look forward to catching up with those. And if you're a tattoo artist, go on to Cheat Code. Please, please, please reach out if you accept Bitcoin. Be greatly appreciated. Whitney Webb complained about the Biden admin's economic policy designed by a cadre of former BlackRock executives could soon make you a cyber criminal. The Department of Justice partnered with the WEF's PAC, which labels disinfo spread as criminal on par with hackers, potential Russian disinformation, record inflation, unaffordable prices for food, risk of job losses for white Americans, privilege for people of color. Don't know about the last two, but the top two, record inflation, well, yes, that's happening. Unaffordable prices for food, yes, that's happening as well. But that's labeled Russian disinformation. It makes absolutely no sense. It's very dystopian, very Orwellian. Toby Cunningham, did you know that Merrill Lynch owns 45% of BlackRock? Yeah, didn't think so. But who owns Merrill Lynch? Bank of America, which bought out Merrill Lynch back in 2008. Found that very interesting. Whether it's you're voting for Trump or Harris, it's totally up to you. Whoever's going to leave us alone the most. But just for this conversation to even be taking place on a global stage, absolutely incredible.
And seventh, working with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you know Bobby, RFK Jr. That was a meaningful endorsement. That was a great endorsement. We'll take on the corruption at the FDA, the CDC, World Health Organization, and other institutions of public health that have dominated and really are dominated by corporate power and dominated really by China, And
CDC, FDA, the World Health Organization, and other institutions of public health are dominated by corporate power. There is I believe there's an agenda to be able to keep people, just to be able to control people. Maybe they feel like they have everyone's best interest at heart, and maybe for the sheeple out there, maybe they do. Maybe it's going to be all gravy for the people that aren't willing to take 100% self-responsibility for themselves. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. the WEF can look after them, the World Health Organization can look after them, the Australian government can look after them. For anyone that wants to lead a life of integrity, of freedom, to be sovereign, to be able to make your own choices, whether it's you want to eat red meat or you don't want to eat red meat, we need to have something outside the system. You need to just be able to opt out, become unconfiscatable, become ungovernable. And I think the only way to be able to do that is with Bitcoin. We didn't have Bitcoin. Gold would sort of be all right, but in the digital age, it just doesn't work. You can now travel anywhere with your wealth in your head if you want to, with a border pass. You become like it's truly FU money, and you don't need to be subject to the direction, the dictatorship that feels like it's coming in so many ways. Maybe it is the best for the most amount of people. I don't know. I don't believe so personally. But now we have an option just to be like, I don't choose that anymore. I'm not going to do that. And good luck trying to stop me, or good luck trying to get me to follow your agenda. Like here in Australia, the Climate Change Authority calls on Australians to cut back on red meat to reduce emissions. That science has been totally debunked. Ruminant animals, absolutely incredible for the environment. I'm sorry for the people that don't eat meat out there. It's like freedom of speech. I'll fight for your right to be able to say whatever you want in life. Like, even if I disagree, and that leads to discourse, to be able to conversation, for us to be able to level up and to be able to entertain opposing ideas. One more thing, that's the 35-minute timer with the news, and then we're going to get into a bit of a banter. And same with me. It's what drives humans' bodies. And if people want to be able to eat it because they think it's the best thing for themselves, nobody should get in the way of doing that. Obviously, we need to treat animals humanely, with respect, give them the best conditions possible. And it's pretty strict. But just gaslighting and lying about it to psyop people into eating less red meat to the environment when they put up all these green, clean energy things that are disintegrating, falling apart, it's absolutely insane. And I think this is an attack on people's mental health. If they can make people afraid, scared, not healthy internally, they can control them a whole lot more. And then you're subject to paying the high electricity prices when they put out their green agenda or whatever psyop they want to take you down. Or they want to promote something for you. And you're so detached from reality and what's going on, you just go in there and you just take it. No more. The Climate Change Authority, two things here. Released a report which suggests that Australians should eat less red meat to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It is just outrageous. People realise what weird directions are trying to be pushed onto the government. The sooner we change the government, the better. I don't think the government's going to fix it at all. Smaller government may help. It's only by us taking 100% self-responsibility. Last thing, I'll just repost this at Sean Clark 911. Australian Senator, he's from One Nation. I don't agree with a lot of stuff from One Nation in particular, from the politicians, any party in Australia. What he says in this video, I think he gets most of it right, though. Probably 90% of that video I do agree with. He's just saying the WEF have infiltrated Australia. We need to get them out. We need to be able to opt out. Anyway, that's news with the fast facts. We are going to get into a banter for about 23 minutes, so when a couple of minutes over. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We do go live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7:35 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow I will be traveling. I will try to do a live a little bit later, but I'll be traveling exactly when I go live tomorrow. Usually we'll get back on schedule, and then I'll be streaming from location. But good morning, everyone. Shout out to you. What a grand and glorious day to be here in Bitcoin. Every day is good. I really like the price. Cool. It's green. Absolutely amazing. We buy it when it's red. We buy it. And we just stack and just realize by putting in the proof of work, taking the time to study, at least for me, it allows me to see the noise, the nonsense going on, and just laugh at Clown World. and not sign up for a digital ID to see a monkey. I'm not doing that. Anyway, good morning, Johnny Midas. Good to see you. Earthbum Spranza. Hey, Michael. G'day, Ray. Good morning, Sean. All of that rhymed. Tops. PN. Thanks for showing Joe Kernan, one of the few on MSNBC with common sense. That video was so on point. I'm just trying to race through and find it again. Some of the comments on it were absolutely brilliant. Khalid's way. I think Joe Squawk really needs to take a break from CNBC. One thing is to be magna passionate, but lately it's just disrespectful, rude, and unwatchable at this point towards viewers, investors, co-hosts, and guests. Adam Back chimed in, I believe, on this. Lol, come on, if a guest goes on CNBC, Bloomberg, BBC, or any other financial news show and displays complete and utter economic illiteracy, what do you expect? They should practice trying to sound coherent or send a different guest. Absolutely love it. Adam Back getting in there with the facts this morning. But it was a good video, I think. It's so amazing that they get so triggered when the truth is just pointed out. And that's why they, in my opinion, want to get rid of free speech, because they don't like it, opposing views. And is there just one reality in life? Probably not. There is no absolute truth. But I have my absolute truth, and you may have your absolute truth. And we may totally disagree. But you can't just label mine disinformation when it works for me, when it makes me healthy. And that's why I guess we have unconfiscatable money. FU money. She's brilliant. Camilla, hi her immediately. Absolutely subdued. Such interesting person, Elizabeth. What's her face? Bitcoin Buddha. Sup, dudes? Good to see you. McLovin in the house. Happy Sunday, McLovin. Feeling the love today. Let's just race through. Somebody tell this woman Bitcoin doesn't need a backup. This is in regards to Elizabeth Warren. It's the real deal. Fiat garbage needs to be backed up because it's useless paper. It does. It needs to be backed up by something. Since 1971, going off the gold standard. House prices, everything have just gotten harder and harder and harder, and it's going to continue to do that. I propose we fire all the bureaucrats. McLovin, I'm voting you in for president. Let's go. Not into politics, but let's get McLovin in the house. Who don't have our best interests at heart. They work for us. They're supposed to represent taxpaying citizens. Jose, good afternoon, team. Good to see you. Good day to stack sats, 100%. Bitcoin Cowboy. Bitcoin Cowboy, are you Cowboy on X? Had a couple of good interactions lately. I want to eat red meat. Me too. Can't wait for lunch as well. Johnny Midas, let's go. Ribeye steak in 1 hour. 1 a day. Nice. Let us know if anyone's like totally strict carnivore and how long you've been doing it for. I find it very interesting. It goes against conventional wisdom. And for anyone on both sides, you're a meat eater or not, The Carnivore Diet by Dr. Sean Baker, absolutely amazing read. And not saying read it to convince yourself to eat red meat, but just maybe why the psyop is there. And for people that are just totally opposed, it talks about different vitamins, nutrients, minerals, and stuff that meat contains, but you can get elsewhere as well, which may lead to better health. It's an absolute brilliant book. I don't know, it took me a day to read. It's a little bit big. It took me all day to read it, but it's well worth it. Ribeye steak in 1 hour, 1 a day. I'm calling you Johnny Ribeye from now on. I like that. Notifications were a game changer. That's that little bell button, especially on YouTube. If you hit that where the subscribe button is, and you will be notified every time I go live. That sends a signal, Bitcoin, to push this message more and more. Good quality stealth jumper. Awesome. You got it, Steve Smith. The Bitcoin Lab, it should have been taken down now. This was my clothing store. I've taken it down as we rebrand. Let's just see if it is up there. It is up there. I'm not sure why. This will be closing today. It should have already. You can try by if you want to be able to send the signal. I'm not sure why it didn't get closed down, which is pretty interesting. I did cancel that Shopify store. If you can buy and you want to, you can, but it's not going to stay there for very long. But the stealth jumper, so 60, 15-month carnivore, Johnny Midas, let's go. That is me on X. How cool, cowboy. Lightning goats in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest takeaway, as always, is just buy, stack, and chill. Go as hard as you possibly can, as long as you can. I think the end of the consolidation's pretty close, whether it's another couple of weeks, couple of months. One day we're going to wake up in hindsight. You're like, 55, we hit 55,000. 54 would have been good. 53 would have been good. And that's what happens with Bitcoin over time. Goes up and to the right. We'll look back now thinking, oh, let's pump. Come on, you're like, can we go back to 55,000 for a little bit longer, please? That's the way I see it as well. 50, 55 feels like, I don't know, $3,000 to $9,000 back in 2020. Maybe a good opportunity. Up to you to do whatever you need to do. That's the news with the fast facts. We will see you tomorrow at some time. I'm traveling in the morning. Otherwise, Wednesday, 7:35 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Do us a massive favor. Smash the like button. Leave a comment. I've got a few to get back to today. Have a beautiful day. Be blessed. Peace.
Everything seemed normal. Successful businesses were functioning as they usually should. Money was being placed in the bank as savings. Life was good. Nobody notices anything funny. But 2008 hits and all hell breaks loose. Everything we thought about money and the banking was a complete lie, a complete sham, a Ponzi, a scam. The whole world fell apart and a lot of people got hurt financially. And as a result of this, the Bitcoin white paper was born. But yet the same mistakes keep happening over and over again. People are leaving money on their institutions up until the last straw, FTX, when billions of dollars were lost, families were decimated, life savings were completely wiped, and people were wondering what on earth just happened. We have an option to take full custody of our funds, and that's Bitcoin. We just have to learn the process. It's not hard. It's just something we've never had to do before. Otherwise, the same mistakes are going to keep repeating themselves, and people are going to continue to get hurt over and over and over until they learn you need to exit the system in order to protect yourselves and your loved ones.